What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Cylon Johns and Jills, but today it's just the Johns because we have the expert and the know-nothing in me. We will be talking about Battlestar Galactica Season 2, Episode 4, Resistance. We'll also be giving you the teaser for Season 2, Episode 5, The Farm. Now, these are some really great episodes, but remember, this is spoiler-free, so try to keep it cordial. And I just want to first off thank all the Cylon Jills, uh, Julianne89, an honorary Cylon Jill, Bobby Catalano, Clarissa Thompson, Amy True, and Mackenzie L. Burns. Thank you so much for your contributions, and you had some fantastic thoughts this week. And let me introduce my co-host, who needs no introduction, but
John St. Baptiste.
he makes the people come together with music. How are you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing well, thanks, Johnny. Excited about delving into this episode a little bit.
I know there are a lot of things here. I'll go ahead and let you kind of give your spiel. Where do you want to start? I know the Jills were so close on many levels this weekend, and they're going to be so sad to hear us tease them all this week. But it's going to be fun. So go ahead, bud.
Well, I'd say the best place starts at the beginning and the end. They mirror each other imagery-wise with the blood drops, and I think that's really neat. You've got the scene in the interrogation room with Ty, and then you have the scene at the end where Boomer gets shot, and the blood drops on the floor of the ship like mirror each other perfectly. That was CG, right?
All of it was CG. It's kind of amazing. When you really stare at it, you can tell, but I didn't even notice until Ron said something about it on the podcast. It was it's pretty damn cool. Very talented CGI artist there.
Yeah, especially when you think this was 15 years ago.
I know, and it's standing the test of time. The way they shot it, the way they didn't rely on CGI too much as well, I think is a big key, and also the acting, the script, of course. This was an amazing episode. Lots of things happened here on top of Adama dying. Then you have Tyrell seems to be sweating, right? So this is a problem for Ty. We come back to this spot, and Tyrell's kind of in a Leoban situation, right? And Ty's kind of the Starbuck at this moment.
Yeah, I mean he's under interrogation. He's literally being beaten and grilled and so forth. And I think it's very telling that you see Ty just get his flask out. He doesn't even give a shit. It's almost like part of his interrogation technique.
Yeah, and there's the blood for Tyrell's scene. It goes straight to the flask every time. We see a lot of the reasons why Ty is not a commander. For one, he doesn't have a desire, I don't think, and it's just not in his personality. Not everyone is fit to lead. The hubris in us thinks every one of us could be a leader, but it takes a little more than that, and I think we see that here, and it's very poetic, in a sense.
Agreed.
What would you like to point? I know you have some notes from the Jills. Is there anything you would like to point out that we're really close to? I mean, we got.
I think they're so close on some things we can't even talk about it.
Yeah, we got. Baltar kind of coming to his own. He wasn't even gonna. He's not. He's taking crap from no one at this point, and he's not necessarily even in power. With martial law, he's not really the vice president anymore, but I think he knows he's smart enough to see ahead. He plays chess instead of checkers. And I think you really see that here. He doesn't stress so much about him not being in power, which he never really asked for it anyway. It just kind of happened, which pretty hilarious. I mean, Rosalind too. To your point, she makes some interesting decisions, and yeah, you can go. I don't want to rant the whole time. Ha.
Oh no, it's fine. Agreed completely. Also, this scene that you've got right here. How much of an ingrate is Callie? Like, I
Yeah,
know she really wants to save the chief and all that, but seriously, like, dude just saved your life by killing somebody, and you're gonna like pull this crap. Like,
the only thing the only thing I can say to defend her is she knows that Boomer's down there. She knows that he's basically with a Cylon. Uh, but I think she's damaged after what happened. I don't even think she's thinking clearly yet. As we see that when she gets in a confrontation with I can't remember his name ever.
Jammer.
Jammer. I don't know why I can't remember Jammer's name, but she gets in a confrontation with Jammer and well, you know, it doesn't end it well. She just kind of shows her frustration, her lack of awareness, the fact that she really can't control her emotions at this moment, and I think that's conveyed well in this episode. Yeah, she's kind of a dirt bag, but I still love Callie. I don't know. I
It's a
kind
dirtbag, but definitely an ingrate. You know.
of I empathize with what she's went through. I'm not saying what she did was justified, but it depends what lens you're looking through as well. It's we'll come back to that in a minute because the death of Boomers a big deal, and yeah, we'll get to that at the end. I think that's a good end piece.
Cool.
In this point, we have Kara, Hilo. They're basically hunkered down. They're trying to figure out what they're going to do, but they get surrounded. Everybody thinks the other person's a Cylon, but it turns out to be a pyramid team. And this ended up being ultimately Ron's idea as opposed to some uh, force, like a rebel force, like I can't even think of the word right now, but, you know, uh, militia, just a regular militia or something of that nature. He decided to make it a pyramid team and even gave them a backstory of how they survived. Usually you don't get that much in shows like this. And I thought it was a great touch. And this also harkens back to Kara's past, and it really is gonna give us a buttload of information going forward. But that's all I can tell you.
Well, yeah, I think it's great because they show that like a group of rebels, um, not really contradicting what you said, but like is formed by common people who are fed up with whatever the situation is. And so, I think, yeah, that common person aspect that they have to this, like, yeah, it's a pyramid team. It's like campers. It's survivalists. Like these are the people who, and the pyramid team, it's by the grace of God or the gods that they happen to be doing high altitude training
They
when
they
this whole
really
thing
do.
happened.
Uh, and you're right. They did gather many other people. It's not just a pyramid team. And if you don't know what pyramid is, it's kind of like basketball is the best way to think of it. They kind of equate it to basketball. Not the same, but as far as what the sport is and what it means to the people, it's similar to that. You can gain superstar status. And as we know, Kara hasn't had aspirations. We've talked about it before.
Yeah.
But they'll get more into it. There's your teaser.
But I also think that it needs to be noted that they even play off the thing like, so these are the Caprica Sea Bucks, and Starbuck and Hilo are from Caprica, and just they play the like sports fan who has the team that's not doing well thing. They're like, you guys suck.
I mean, it
I
really does. I love it. I love it, man, because she shows her inner athlete. All athletes think they can do just as good or better than, especially if it's her favorite team or ends up being a team that she likes or hated, that was a rival against her, one of her favorite teams. I don't know, it adds a bit of touch and personality to it.
right.
I know you love Starbucks Uzis too.
Oh yes, I do. I was a big fan when they shot this scene. I was like, yeah, I want a pair of those. They're inaccurate AF, but I just want a pair of those because they'd be fun to shoot.
They really would, man. Uh, and Ron had a tough time with the scene. He still doesn't know if he likes it or not because they tried to shoot it the best way they could. I thought it was decent, but these are like really hard scenes to shoot the standoff because most people would have already shot. In a real situation, somebody gets shot 9 times out of 10. And to make it kind of believable, he had a tough time with it, but I think he did as best he could. You have to do something to make them come together. And ultimately, I think it turned out well, but he still doesn't know if he likes it or not, which I think's funny. You're always your own worst critic as well.
Yeah, I can see that. I would say I don't know that it would be likely, but I can see it happening. I don't have to suspend my disbelief too much that
Yeah,
there are a bunch of people pointing guns at each other that it would be like that kind of standoff.
I agree. I agree.
Like so one of us is going to die at least, maybe all of us.
So this is a good point. Anders is in the woods, and he's talking about the human Cylons are always in pairs. Do you think that will play out any further? And I know you can't answer, so I'm just talking about it. Um, that is one thing they noted. The Jills didn't pick up on that, but there's so much in this episode that it's hard to distinguish. But you do notice Six and Doral are always together. If they're not, then you have to ask yourself. You have Boomer who's seemingly alone, but there are more Cylons there, so she could have another Cylon with her. They could all be in pairs. This could be something that just Anders has observed since he's been on Caprica, and he may be wrong about this, right? I'll let you get into it a little more. I don't want to.
Oh no, I think it's definitely an astute observation. Um, it would be my thought that generally, if you're in a military situation where you're basically mopping up duty, you wouldn't want somebody going out alone. So that would be my basic assumption there. You wouldn't want somebody going out alone. There's a reason they're always at least two together. It might just be safety in numbers. We don't know yet.
Yeah, or a coupling pair.
Could be.
Some bird species made for life. No, I'm just throwing out some funny stuff. And
True doves. I think owls do.
Yeah, there's a few of them. There are a few mammals. But with that, we have the couple of the year, Ellen and Ty, and they have their. Well, I won't show it, but their famous wrestling match, and we'll see how much Ellen can really manipulate Ty. She pulls him one way than the other. She gives that sweet and salty. And I'll let you expand on it a little more, my friend.
Oh yeah, I've always felt that Ellen Ty is a classic example of an abusive partner. That's that person who, maybe on a more emotional level. I mean, she does hit him, but it's that classic person who like beats the crap out of the partner, and then the next day is like buys them something. And that's their way to control that person is, the domination, and then the, oh, I can be this sweet, I can be this kind. I mean, it's a really disturbing relationship dynamic.
We see how Ty deals with it.
Yeah.
Can you blame him? And they were going to make her even more invasive character in the beginning. They went back on it, which me and you have talked about. We think it's good because she was even supposed to be in the CIC when when Ty was making the decision for Hot Dog, whether Hot Dog should fire on Apollo or not. And they thought it a little too unbelievable and intrusive, but I think they get the message across well enough. But I could only imagine Ellen being more intrusive. It would be insane because she's such a great actor in this, and she brings out this love to hate her feel, which is hard to do in a character. That's how you know someone's a good actor, is when you can hate to love them or love to hate them, either one. Um, and she fits that mold perfectly.
No, agreed. She I'm glad they didn't go that route, because there's no reason that a non-political civilian should ever be in the command room on a military ship. Like, that would have just been, to me, that would have been cheesy. That's one of the things with a lot of the space opera that's out there that I find cheesy is you've got like Joe Schmo off. Why is he on the bridge of this ship? Like why? There's no reason. I mean, that's just bad military protocol.
It would be. That's ultimately why they took it out. But you can see what they want her to be, and maybe that's some foreshadowing for the future for Ellen Ty. No, she won't be in the CIC, but uh, her invasive personality, and she has this pack mentality where it, even though she treats Ty the way she does, when she feels he gets mistreated, she gets offended by it. So she still defends him even though she's abusive as hell.
I'm the only one who's allowed to be this person.
That's right. Exactly. And we can go back to Baltar, right? I don't know if anyone else saw this, but this kind of wigged me out a little bit when I first saw this, when he did this to Tyrrell. It was a little bit crazy, so if I dare say so myself. Um, and he seemingly has a plan, but you know, is he enjoying this? I don't know. The look, you know, James Callis portrays this so well to where, there's looks of what seems like pain on his face, but also what seems like desire and lust for what's happening. And it's so good because it really lets you know what Baltar is about. He's taking kind of a darker turn. We know that he only thinks about himself. So in this moment, we see him finally find his path, so to speak, and he has a plan.
Well, he thinks about himself, and he thinks about this baby.
Yeah, Das
And
Baby.
Boomer is basically causing a threat to him. So I really like that he just goes ahead. I like that this shows exactly how callous he's capable of being. And I wonder if it ties into the fact that, like, last week he was able to kill somebody. And now that he knows that, he's like, okay, well, I can do this. So this is a whole another arrow in my quiver. And I can be. You give this threat. I need to know this information. So here's how I'm going to do it.
Yeah, it's almost a sociopathic tendency, right? He has this objective and he will let nothing stop him until he gets there. And that's a good point about the baby. And shout out to Bobby Catalano, who caught something but didn't finish on it. Maybe they'll be able to finish on it this week or the next. I will just say this. When Baltar counted down, he was talking to Sharon, 10, 9, and 8. That's all I can say.
And then, yeah, and then
Great pickup
eight
by Bobby.
silence.
Would you like to elaborate on mute? I'm just kidding. I thought that was a fantastic pickup by Bobby. They're doing really pretty darn good with the Cylons as well. So close. We have some very perceptive Jills, I must say.
I love our panel. I think they're great.
They really are. They really are. And something else that's good about this episode is we kind of see, Dee's character develop a little more, and Gata with everything. All there's, just the small acting that they do. Right here, it's just a really good scene. Gata says this little quip and just darts off the screen. These little mannerisms here really tend to make or break the scene. And I don't know, they did it perfectly, and we see them develop. And that's what I like about this. You have your B characters who feel almost like A characters because they still have depth and backstory, right?
Oh, agreed. Absolutely agreed. And it gets to later in the episode, like Gata even is inadvertently in on the whole escape. He even he has to make that decision to say to Ty whether he knows anything or not, and he's like, no, I haven't noticed anything, nothing strange. It really, and I don't think this vilifies Ty. I think it just says that everybody, even the people who like and respect him, know that he should not be in this position of authority. Plus, we also have to question if I think we established that if Ty were taken out of command, then the next person up would be Gata. I'm not positive about that. I'm not positive about the absolute military structure going on here, but I'm pretty sure the next person up for military command would be Gata. So we have to wonder if he has a secondary or tertiary motivation there. Just something to pop out there.
It's a good point. He always is planning and thinking ahead. He has a brilliant mind. We've seen that on display a few times, especially with the firewalls and the soap epiphany. I thought that was a fantastic shot. And to your point, yeah, they all know. Back to D, I think it was last episode. Talking about when Ty walked by, it's just not him. And at least he knows who he is. But the problem is, yeah, he's putting all hope on Adama surviving. You got to feel for him a little bit. The man's in a lot of pain. His best friend hanging in the balance. He has his thrust in command and something that he knows he's not good at. He even talks about he's just fracking stupid. He just keeps making these messed up decisions, and that's why Ellen can get in his ear because he is down on himself in the situation. That might be one of his problems as well. He doesn't have the best view of himself or self-esteem.
Well, I'd go so far also so to say Ty's not doing what's best. Amy's gonna get this reference. Ty's doing what's least worst.
Oh man, that's some great grammar. Um, yeah, that's what he's trying to do. But
Amy, if you got that, put it in the comments because I know you're gonna get that reference.
oh, she will. She'll get it. Um, you know, with Ty, we can leave him there for a second, or we can go ahead and talk about Adama coming back. What do you want to do?
I let's go ahead and talk about Adama. And you pointed out the Godfather moment.
Yeah, so he comes back in, and I forgive me for not remembering the names of everyone, but it's like when the Godfather comes back, and he comes in the room, scans the problem and the situation, and immediately focuses on fixing the problem and not what's happened in the past because you cannot change the past. This is something that I love about Adama. Now, he can maybe find out some more information later that'll change his mind, but he's been through so many things with Ty that he knows what happened for the most part. If he sees an outcome, Adama knows Ty so well that he probably knows all the details uh, that came up to that outcome just by deducing from Ty's personality and knowing Ellen. So he, yeah, he has a vast sense that shit went wrong. He knows if Ty was in command that it's gonna be hell on Galactica. I think he had faith in him, but he knows he was gonna make mistakes because he knows his soldiers. He knows
I
his
never
men.
had much use for people second guessing their decisions.
Nope, nope. And we and we yeah, this is a great quote. And also, what does he say to Lee at some point? Yeah, man has to live with his decisions and just you know take his bad decisions and live with them. They're in the past. You've already made these decisions. I can't remember the exact quote.
Yeah, I can't either, but I totally remember what you're talking about. It's and that's in 33.
Mm.
And I also love in this scene Adama's like, "You gonna pour me one of those?" And then he and Ty just sit down together, and like it just really gives you this sense of the bond that the two of them have. Like, he's basically like, you know, you messed things up, and I'm not going to gussy that up. I'm not going to say you didn't, but right now we got to focus on fixing them, and we can talk about all that later.
Yeah,
And you're still my friend. Just that image of the two of them sitting next to each other.
and that's all. That's what they are. But they've been through so many things together that we don't know about yet per se. We know a little bit, and you'll get some more inkling of things to come here. But like I said before, Dama knows who Ty is. He knows what he gets with him, as he does with all the people. The only wild card right now is really his son, whom he can't necessarily predict or control.
Right.
And he knows what Rosalind's gonna do, but his son keeps throwing wrenches and everything, which I think's really good. I just want to give a teaser to everyone really quick. You're gonna like this. You're gonna like this, John. I will say, you remember the cage that they're building for
Yes.
Boomer? They'll use that cage for something.
Yes,
So
they will.
I also want to say, yeah, with this, y'all were really close on something else too. So, um, I'm such an asshole, but I think you'll be excited. The cage will be used. It won't go to waste. Um, Apollo and Rosalind, well, they orchestrate the breakout, right? They get to this point where Lee has to basically break his parole, uh, maybe slightly, but either way, he broke it.
Yeah, there's a bit of a debate about it, but no, he said, when I'm out, I will not conspire with her. When I'm off duty, I will be in my cell. Like, so, but technically, he never spoke to her. He just staged this whole thing, which comes down to what I think is one of the most important things in this episode is that devil's bargain that he made to get her off the ship.
Yeah, and with Zarek, I mean, you have to wonder, you know, what this means for the rest of the fleet and everything in general. We have um, Zarek, who is a politician. We have plenty of things that can be used for political ammunition, right, John?
Oh yeah.
And with that, I guess we'll segue into some of the things that happened in this episode, or just one, which is the Boston Massacre like incident that happens with the throwing of the coffee and basically the accidental killing of civilians by panicked soldiers. They're cornered during the Boston Massacre. The Redcoats were cornered in the streets of Boston by a mob. They were hungry. They were rioting. Shots were fired. People died. They actually were tried, found innocent. John Adams, the brother of Samuel Adams, was their lawyer and actually was the one that got them off. Uh, and it was used as a big marketing tool and put in all of the papers and basically used to demonize them and the British. Uh, and the story was taken slightly out of context and it was more gray than that. People were getting injured. No one even knows who fired the first shot. Just like, and here you don't know who fired the shot, and it's reality at its core to me. This I don't care who you are in a situation like this. It's a powder keg waiting to explode.
Oh, agreed. The other thing it reminds me of is the Kent State uh, uprising in, um, that's what the song "Four Dead in Ohio" is written about. Like Kent State, that's 2 hours from me, and but I grew up with that song and listening to it and hearing it, and it's a situation where the militia was sent to quell protesters at Kent State University, and depending on whose side you listen to, they were attacked and they opened fire. And it just gets down to, and that wasn't technically a situation of martial law, at least legalistically, but it gets down to the as I think I said Friday, like, military officers are not necessarily riot police, and how you handle things is going to be very different. And like Coddle says to uh, Ty, what'd you expect? You put a pilot in charge of a armed group that was trying to get things from civilians. I can't remember the exact wording, but yeah, that, and then you pointed out the Boston Massacre thing to me. It's like both of those situations I think are very reflective of this.
Yeah, I love how they tie in a little bit of history here and there. With that, they also tied in the Jack Ruby killing of, um, oh my gosh, why can't I think of his name right now?
Lee Harvey Oswald.
Lee Harvey Oswald having a
Hey,
brain
nobody
fart.
picked up on that on Friday.
I know no one picked up on it. Yeah, Jack Ruby shot Lee Harvey Oswald. It was as he was being brought out of the police station, if I'm not mistaken.
Mhm.
And exact same way, he just come up, shot him. I think Jack Ruby said something, but I can't remember exactly what he said. But it was crazy moment. There's clips of it. It's live. They caught it live. It was, ooh, it's hard to watch, but you gotta figure that.
Oh, I think
I-
Time Magazine made it one of the most 100 most impactful photos of the 20th century, or something like that. Like that picture of Ruby shooting Lee Harvey Oswald. Like that's yeah, it was considered like one of the 100 defining photos of the 20th century.
yeah, it has to be. There's. It's one of those things you'll remember for all time that's stamped into history, and you'll see it throughout cinema. There'll be odes to it everywhere. It's hard to write things that happen in real life, and that's why you see a lot of film, a lot of TV shows will use real life events and mimic them because they are so unexpected, they are so crazy, they are so great.
Agreed.
Let's see. Hmm. We have with Rosalind's breakout, we have the guy from Gemini, Corporal Venner, uh, very strict by the book culture when it comes to um, studying the text. He helped her get out, and I just want to say that he was supposed to be kind of her best friend for a lot of the series, but that never really panned out. They decided to go against that. And another thing to talk about is Billy leaving. Um, this actually ended up being a great cinematic moment, but it was not planned. The actor who plays Billy had a WB pilot, so they didn't know if he was going to come back, if the pilot was going to get picked up or not. So they wrote this just to be safe, and it ended up being perfect. Your thoughts, John?
Oh, this is one of my favorite scenes from the whole season. Because we really get to see something about his character. We get to see that he's like, I believe in what you're doing, but this is going to tear the colony apart. This is going to tear the fleet apart, and I can't be a part of that. And I have so much respect for that. I thought his name's escaping me now, but the actor who played that part just played it to where I believed it when I was watching it. This to me was the most intense scene in the episode, honestly.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, Billy stopped being a yes man right here. Up until that, he had voiced his disapproval for things, but he had always backed Rosalind. He had always said yes, no matter what, for the most part. Here, he finally takes a stand. I do think it's beautiful, and another person that becomes their own person in this episode. That happens a few times. Yeah, I agree with you. I love the scene. It's really empowering for Billy as well, and possibly gives Rosalind something to think about moving ahead. To put in her list of thoughts before she makes future decisions. But we'll
Right.
see what happens there. Um, let's see, what else do we got, my friend?
Teasers.
Oh, we got teasers. We got teasers. So, this next episode coming up is really, really good. You get to learn a lot about Starbuck. It's not my teaser, but I'm just telling you. Um,
And trigger warning. This episode might trigger a few people. Just a heads up.
yeah, it's difficult. It's it, it can be a somber episode. It hits you in the feels for sure. It's emotionally charged. And I guess my teaser will be Rosalind can hide, but she can't run. And religious crap. They'll get that when they watch it.
Oh, okay. My teaser for this week. I went down to the county drugstore to get my prescription filled.
Damn. That's a good one. That's a good one. With that,
I'm going to ride this horse as long as I can. If I can come up with a lyric every week, I will.
oh, you got to do it, man. I think you can. There's so much in each episode that I think you can do it. I love it. I think the Jills love it. The fans love it. I'm going to drop stuff and make a bunch of noise right now, but it's really good. We had a fantastic episode. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. Also, check out Friday nights at 9 p.m. Cylon, Johns, and Jills will be doing a recap of the episodes, spoiler free. We'll be doing episode 5. Let me pull it up
The
this week.
farm.
The Farm this week. And yeah, The Farm is right. It's an apt name for the episode. So, there's you another teaser. With that, I guess we won't give you any more. No. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. John, would you like to say anything before we leave, my friend?
Just keep coming back. Soon, the new Battlestar trailer will be coming out, and I don't watch trailers because I'm so anti-spoiler. But the one for the new movie is supposed to be coming out soon, and I will be watching it, and we will be doing a reaction video.
No doubt. Right here on the
This is me
Cylon.
breaking the rules just for y'all.
Hey, that's a big deal for John. I'm telling you, he doesn't watch 3-second clips, so you should feel honored. With that, my friends, so say we all.
So say we all.